Let's go to John from Kentucky. John, what's going on?
Hi there, David. Can you hear me?
I can. It quite literally sounds like you're underwater. You're not underwater, are you?
I'm not right now.
Oh boy. Did you say you're not underwater right now?
I'm not underwater right this moment.
Oh,
Maybe
now
later,
it sounds so much better. What did you just change?
I just went off of my car Bluetooth to my handset.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Well,
Okay.
what's on your mind today?
Yeah, I had a question. I'm an Uber driver and I talk a lot of politics in the car, which is a mistake, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But a question that's just kind of been popping up as a 25-year-old leftist is what's the point in conservatism anymore?
I can't answer that for you. That's interesting. So let me see if I can understand the situation. You drive Uber in Kentucky?
Yeah.
And so are most of your passengers right-wingers?
Well, I actually live in Louisville, Kentucky, so we're a blue dot in a red state.
Okay.
So I get a good mix of people. So I'll have a lot of leftists in the car. I'll have a lot of liberals. And then a lot of the people that I get are Republican.
Yeah.
And I just simply like one of the things that I've been saying recently. I don't know if you've ever watched Adventure Time.
No, I don't even know what it is.
Okay. Adventure Time is a kid's show. It was really, really good, though. There was this vampire lady named Marceline, and in one of the episodes, she's fighting this other guy who's the vampire king, and they break apart.
Oof.
And the vampire king is like, "Hey, Marceline, you've lived over 1,000 years. What have you learned?" And she says something to the effect of, everybody keeps making the same mistakes over and over again, and I guess nobody lives long enough to see the pattern.
Right.
And
well, listen, my thought on that is as follows, and I don't want to interrupt the retelling of Adventure Time episodes, but here's my thought. There's two things going on with conservatism. One is the idea of let's keep doing things the way we've done them before, just for the sake of continuing to do them the same way we've done them before, which for me isn't a very good argument necessarily.
Right.
And then also there is a sort of contrarianism to conservatism when people typically from the left say, hey, here's an advancement that we have, which will improve things. There's like a reflexive contrarianism where it's just like, no, we're not going to do that. Just because you want to, we're not going to do it. So I think that those are two important elements of it.
Right, 100%. And one of the things I've been saying a lot in the car is respectfully, I don't have to have lived 1,000 years to see that the story of human history has always been conservatives or their historical contemporaries fighting against progress.
Yeah.
And then leftists or their historical contemporaries dragging them kicking and screaming into that progress.
Correct.
So, yeah, I just don't see it's just frustrating living in a red state right now. What can I say?
John, what's the wackiest Uber driving situation you've experienced?
Oh, honestly, I haven't had too many bad. I did have one lady get in the car with the MAGA hat and the flags and the pins and stuff. And we're about 2 minutes into the ride, and she just casually says, I just can't stand the way the media treats true patriots.
Right.
And so I kind of give it a second, and I'm like, okay, I'll bite. Who are true patriots? And she says, well, Matt Gaetz, Alex Jones, just to name a couple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't have to say Alex Jones is full of crap. He says that in depositions and stuff. But Matt Gaetz, the guy who's currently under investigation from the DOJ for child sex trafficking, this is the guy who's a true patriot to you, really?
Have you ever had to kick anyone out of the car?
I have not, but I think that's mostly because my demeanor in the car is very much, if you don't like it, you can walk.
Right.
So I think that more kind of that keeps people in line a lot of the time. So, yeah.
Well, John, I appreciate the call. Stay safe out there.
I'll try, brother. Thank you.
All right.
And congratulations on the new child.
Thank you. There's John from Kentucky with some powerful, powerful declarations. As a reminder, if you want the opportunity to get on to chat with me and you are currently in the Discord waiting lobby, your nickname must be name and where you're calling from. It doesn't even have to be real. I don't know where you really are, but it has to be in that format. So people who just have single word nicknames and stuff like that, you're not going to get called on, just as a heads up. So everybody knows and is on the same page. Let's go to Alex from Seattle. Alex, welcome.
Morning, David. I wanted to ask you about a book written by a guest you had on a few months ago, Bobby Azarian.
Sure.
It was called The Romance of Reality.
Yeah.
Did you read the book?
I read part of it. Yeah, for that one, I read like I often do, introduction, table of contents, first chapter, last chapter, and some stuff in between.
Okay, interesting. I found it to be. First off, I wanted to thank you for having that guest on and having that book. I've in the process of reading it, and I'm reading it slowly because it's a very dense book. I'm sure if you read a couple of chapters, you probably like it's very it's
Yes.
explaining each piece as it goes, building its case for why do we exist? What is life for? I just wanted to know if if in the brief parts that you read, if there was anything you found to be either disagreeable or if it changed anything about how you thought about concepts like free will, determinism, because it goes into a lot of that.
No, I mean, when I read so much that it's rare at this point that I read something and it completely upends my view. It's just sort of like it now averages into my views overall and just like can slightly tweak things. So I don't know that I can say that there was any kind of like big 180 that I did as a result of the parts of the book that I read, but it certainly presented, and so did the interview. I think my view tends to be there is really no one source that describes reality as far as I'm concerned. What I'm looking for are thoughtful ideas to integrate into my understanding. So no, I can't say I had any real 180s.
Okay,
Did you? I mean,
makes
is there
sense.
something you read in the book that made you say, "Wow, I was"?
Yeah, I mean, I prior to reading the book, I mean, I really kind of believed in the concept of determinism. It seemed to make the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Ball rolling down a hill, add more complexity, start to finish. I feel like that kind of worked, and especially with like more progressive politics, you can use that lens and you can look at the way people's lives exist and the problems they run into, and you can use that. And the way the book presents it is kind of, it basically takes things like life and it says instead of it being a thing that just kind of magically happened and it's like a miracle, it frames it as like it as an inevitability based on fundamental laws of science, and it continues to build from there. And so I found that it really made me rethink. It made me believe in free will again, if that kind of makes sense,
Hmm.
because it frames it as the concept of free will is the ability to imagine possible realities and then steer yourself there. And anyway, I found it to be a fascinating book. I recommend it highly. That someone who does not consider themselves religious, I found it to be a thing that explained the universe in a way that kind of gave it a purpose that
Mhm.
kind of made sense. So, and I was very surprised at that because I'm highly skeptical. Similar to your perspective around a lot of things. I was surprised at how much I connected with the book and found it to be interesting.
Well, I appreciate the feedback, Alex. Thank you.
I would love to have more authors like that on your show.
We will make it happen.
All right.
All right,
Thanks so
thanks,
much,
Alex.
David.
Take care. Very always great to hear that people are getting value from the guests on the show. That's fantastic.